Welcome back to the channel on the Way of the Hunter. Today, probably going to do a shorter session, just kind of short on time, do something a little different. I'm going to not go on the bear hunt at the moment. I'm just going to go back to Cottonwood, and I want to catalog a couple of these little herds I got out here. I want to sort of take a look at them again because I haven't looked in a while and kind of compare and see which ones can be harvested and yeah, a little bit of science anyways. I want to go to this tree stand here and have a look around. It's just the one right out of the lodge everyone knows. And I've got I need a tree stand here for a spooky story. I can tell a true spooky story like any best spooky story. They're always true. So I'm going to see if this hunting stand is a good one to tell the story in. And I'm going to have a peek around here first because I'm hearing a few noises. Oh yes, this tree stand, or not tree stand, this hunting stand will do nicely for the story, I think. But there's the herd of deer right out here. That's that first one everybody sees when they leave the lodge. I just want to see what we're looking at. So a little 1-star, 1-star young, 2-star mature. So this looks like $4 in here. Can't get a read on that last one. I haven't been back in a while, so I'm kind of surprised that they're not older. But I'm going to just do my fancy science catalog on these guys and be right. Oh, back. Who's in that background there? Is that badgers, I think? I'll take a look at them too. Okay, so I thought I'd seen them all here. I had 7, 3 doe, and 1-star young, 1-star adult, and 2-star matures, 2 of them. Except another buck called over here. I want to take a look at him. And we'll pick one to take probably. And while I'm waiting, I'll explain a couple things. So I am on the easy difficulty, just because I kind of like how it's I can see the animals in the forest and all that sort of thing. And I'm mostly interested in like the animal management part and the firearm part of it and shot placement, stuff like that. The hunting, sneaking around's okay, but to do the real realistic stuff, it takes a kind of lot of time. And I put lots of hours in the harder difficulty, so I'm going to do the easy for a little while. Now, you can customize the difficulty. So what I've done is, handicap myself a little bit here. I'm not going to play with the zeroing. I'm going to keep them all at 100 meters, and that way I can make it a little more interesting with the ballistics and the marksmanship by learning the drops of the bullets and all that and the different scopes. So I figured I'd do that. We got the 243 right now, and it's pretty flat out to 200 meters. These are about 150 meters, but the wind's blowing to the left. So I think it'd be more interesting, if I don't play around with that, clicking those zeroings in. And it's a bit buggy at long range anyways. It appears not to be accurate zeroing at long range as well. And I did remove the little red dot for the hunter senses where it was showing where the bullet was going. I never really liked that. Kind of took the fun out of it. And plus, it wasn't that accurate either at long range. So I think it'd just be a bit more fun doing it kind of like a more difficult way without the guides and without adjusting the zeroing. Yeah, so that's how I've got it kind of set up. I got the 243 right now and the 22, and I'm not sure. I could have swore I heard one in here. We got $4, 3. Oop! Did I gain another one? 1, 2, 3, $4, and 4 female. I did gain another one, but there was another one calling in there, so I'm going to keep waiting here. And the reason I'm kind of cataloging them, I want to do it for a bunch of the species, is partly because of the bear hunt. It seems like there's only one bear to each one of these zones, as far as I can tell. Mainly because if you go around one of these zones and you run around or you walk around loud with the hunter sense on, it will tell you when you spook something, and it'll tell you what you spooked, and you can walk around them. And it'll let me know if there's a difference. But if you're like one where there's only one bear symbol here or one over here, I only ever spook one bear in the whole thing. So I'm trying to figure out, how big the herd sizes can get, how big the groups can get. I'm just kind of curious how they're making their game work here. So I figured I'd start paying more attention to it now that the game seems to be patched up a bit and a bit more stable. And I don't seem to have another buck coming out. It doesn't look like another one's going to appear. I did have a male mule call in there, but who knows. So I think I'm going to take this 2-star mature. It looks like he's a bit smaller than this one. So he's probably the lowest fitness one, I'm thinking. Quartering away. Got the 243 Remington, the one we started with. And perfect. So it's 100 meters, 150 out. It's still pretty flat. So you can hold on the dot. I wish they would add some stabilization to these stands though. And left wind. So we're going to try and put it back in behind that lung here. Or behind that shoulder. And the wind's going to catch it a little bit. That might have been a little high. There they go. 2, 3, 4. Was there another one? Oh, see, there's another group. So how big do these groups get? I'm really wondering. Let's keep an eye on that. Alright, so the shot was behind that bush, I believe. So we'll mark that there. And go take a look. And then, I think it's almost dark enough for my story. Alright, so I thought it was a high shot, but it looks like it still got in there to count. And then he would have ran off this way, and there's the blood. It's the need zone? Probably already got this one. Yeah, that was their need zone. It's always nice hunting at the kind of at dusk here, because those tracks just light up nice and clear. I can see it. I can see them light all the way up to where he's lying down there. Oh, there they are again. Hello, you. And there they are. Didn't go too far. He's down there. Maybe easy is too easy in the clearing. But oh well. Let's spook them out of here. We'll see when they spook here. So he should be... He's looking at me. Not saying alert though. Oh, let's just see here. How close are we? 75 meters. We should be running by now. Out in the open though, so it's... Hey! There's even foxes! I want to see the fox. Out of the way, deer. Oh, there they go, I think. Yeah. Oh, you're still standing there. Yeah, about 70 meters or so. Whatever I say. And we got a 1-star adult male for the fox, and they're usually in pairs. Where's your girlfriend? Alright, so pick him up. Up we go. And there's the shot. 164 meters, 243. Pretty much where I wanted it. The wind caught it a bit more than where I was aiming. But did the job there. Mostly just the right lung. Touched the left. Perfect. So this is interesting. He's only a 2-star trophy rating, but pretty high fitness, 77. I'm surprised he didn't get larger than that. I guess they can grow even bigger in that same stage, but probably only 1 star or so, so maybe he would have got to 3. But I would have guessed he was smaller fitness than that. Oh well. Oh, I also want to count this group of chickens here. I'm wondering how big they can get to, their group size. Did a quick count on the chickens over there, and but I gotta get to the hunting stand here. It's gonna be too dark to tell my story. It'll be too scary. Okay, so like I said, this is a true story from a buddy of mine. A hunting spooky story. Very fitting. And he was in a hunting stand much like this one. He had been spending all day in the stand. He didn't get anything that day, but he had a peaceful day, overlooking a field just like this one. I don't believe there was a river or anything, but he had a nice open field, looking over any kind of critter that might come out. He was there by himself, and it was before times of where everybody had cell phones out when they're hunting. So, little ways back. But there's also a tree line like this one here, and he was, getting ready to stop the hunt. He had his, rifle kind of leaning out just like this one, using it to scope around with, and he was getting ready to pack up after a long day of relaxing and looking, but kind of grumpy and not getting anything. Where he heard a noise coming back in the tree line over here. So I don't remember if he said if he used the binoculars out or he used his scope, but he lifted up. I got to turn the hunting sense off there to make it brighter. But he took his optics and he scanned over in that area to see what the noise was. And you know what? I'll go over there and I will demonstrate what the noise was. So he was watching over this, expecting a deer to come out or some kind of critter. But it was a slow-moving, kind of noisy thing, going about this pace. And the game does a good representation of the rate that it was coming out, like a step and a pause and a step and a pause, just like this. And he was coming out through the tree line and just kind of doing this, like it was pulling something heavy. And what he had seen is it was this scruffy-looking guy, kind of a spooky-looking character, and he was dragging a large, like he said, a large black garbage bag. Which I asked him, like, you sure it was like a garbage bag? Because you think a garbage bag would be ripping if you're like pulling it through the forest. But he said that looked like a large garbage bag, but beside the point. The guy was pulling the bag out here, and he's kind of struggling. It's heavy, and all of a sudden he turned and looked up at the hunting stand. And as he turned and looked, my buddy, he was just peeking over the edge, but it was pretty dark out, so he crouched immediately behind because he didn't want to be seen. And I sort of kind of asked him, I'm like, well, maybe it was just like another hunter pulling his, his harvest out of the woods, like dragging it out. And why didn't you just say, like, greet the guy? He said he thought about it, but something told him not to say anything. He's like, some kind of feeling not to say anything, but he ducked down and he wasn't sure if he was spotted or not by this guy. Because he jumped right down there. He wasn't making any noise or anything like that. So my buddy, he stays in the corner here, looking at the door here, and he's just listening because he's already suspecting. Like his mind went where everybody's mind's gonna go. Oh, he's dragging a dead body out or something like that. So he's getting kind of heart beating and everything like that's, getting kind of worried. But he's got his rifle with him. And so he's sitting there, and he's listening, and the guy kind of carried on with the same kind of noise, that little shuffling pull. And then, so he's listening, and then there would be a pause where there's a long break of, 10 to 15 minutes of no noise at all, and then you'd think maybe he's gone, but then you'd hear more scruffling. And it would sound like it was kind of down below the tower or just off to the side. He was having a hard time telling where it was. But he figured the guy was still there, and making some kind of weird scruffling noises. So my buddy decides that, it's getting later, and this guy, he's not gonna, whatever he's doing, he's not gonna stay here forever. And I'm fairly safe in my little spot here, and it's getting darker out. So he thought he would just wait for the cover of darkness, and then kind of creep down and make his way out. So he decided to wait. And at this point, we're gonna have to pretend it gets a little darker, because I won't bother fast forwarding time or anything. But I guess the moon's out, you know. He didn't really say how bright it was, but you know, maybe it was about this dark. He was thinking of it was dark enough, and he hadn't really heard noise in a while. So he was thinking of, you know, making a break for it, or go down the ladder nice and quiet, and head back through the trees and get out of here. And just about when he was about to leave, he heard a footstep. Now, what he heard was the guy's footstep on the first rung of the ladder here. And it was just kind of like a little thump, and then he heard another one, thump, and another one, thump, and another one, thump. And he's hearing these thumps coming up the ladder. So he pulls his rifle out, because you know he's cornered, and he's getting ready and he's listening. But all of a sudden the thumps stop. He was expecting guy's head to peek up right here. And they stop, and he's just holding his breath, just listening, trying to figure out what this guy's doing and what his plan is and what's going on. The guy never did appear over the edge, and he didn't hear any more steps. He didn't hear him leave, and he didn't hear him climb anymore. So the guy must be paused on the ladder, and they sit there for several moments, and he says it felt like forever, because he's just, just heart pumping, got the gun ready, and just, half scared, and eventually he hears the thump get quieter, and the guy left the ladder. So he, till this day, he has no idea what that guy was thinking, or maybe he got some kind of weird feeling not to come up here, because looking back on it, my buddy thinks he knew someone was in the stand. He just wasn't sure, and didn't really want to check it out, because at this point neither of them knew what the other one was doing, or who knows. But the guy all of a sudden becomes quiet again, and so he's all super scared now and all jittery and not really know what to do, but he keeps his plan the same. He's like, I can't sit here all night, but I will wait for it to get a little darker, and then I will make an attempt to get out of here. So when he eventually decided to make a move, it was darker than this. I don't think it was this bright, but he slung his rifle on his back, and then he did do, well, actually no, he was, this time he was gonna originally go down slow, but this time he went fast. Well, faster than this guy's going down the ladder, but he zoomed down, pretend he's zooming, and he turns around and he does a big sprint off into the trees. So he's just running now. He slings his rifle off of his back as he's running, and he can't run that fast because he's got all his hunting gear with him, and he's trying to make his way back to his vehicle, and he's running, and he's hearing the guy behind him run after him. So they're running through the trees, and it's all pitch black for him, and he's trying, he's cutting himself going through all these trees and banging himself and all this, and the guy sounds like he's gaining on him, and he's just really worked up now and all scared, and the guy sounded like he wasn't too far behind him, and all he did, he spun around and he just let her go, and then he kept running. He didn't stop. He spun, let a bullet fly, and he didn't hear the footsteps anymore, so he didn't know if that shot hit him or just scared him. But he just kept on running. So he makes it to his car, and he jumps in, and he just peels it out of there. And he goes home to his family and tells his wife what had happened. So the story doesn't end there, though. He's going to come back in the morning. So bright and early in the morning, he phoned the sheriff up. At that time, it was a kind of a small town. All there really was a sheriff and a few deputies. And he tells the deputy about what happened that night, and they drive out to the hunting stand. They're driving out, and they get out to see what they can see now that it's nice and bright. And they're looking around, and he tried to tell them which way he ran through here. But after a little bit of looking, about halfway down through the woods where they were running, there was a guy leaning up against a tree, or sitting down, and he was indeed shot. He was wounded and in really bad shape. Um, so his shot did hit. The guy was still alive, but they did definitely call in a lot more backup and some investigative teams and forensic stuff and everything. Because yes, indeed, that whole time when he was making all these sounds right below around the hunting stand, it was a chopped up body in this black bag, and he had most of the hole dug already with it ready to go in. So like like any spooky story, it's a true story. Happened to my buddy while hunting, and they took him into custody, and he's got a story to tell for the rest of his life there. But yeah, I always remember that story because you're kind of trapped in this small little square at nighttime with only one way in, and the spookiest part is when the guy's climbing the ladder and you don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, so now I'm all spooked up now, so I'm not even too sure I'm going to go any hunting anymore now. But, so I guess I'll just leave it there. I'm not even sure how long that took me to tell. But thank you for watching, and take care.